This is a video of miracles with God coming into my life. The miracles started with God's voice. Back in 1982, I heard the words, "And you shall be mine." It was an external voice that came into my cottage that I was living at, separated from my family. 2 weeks later, I heard the voice again, the same external voice, "And you shall have." Then while I was outside, I heard God's voice for the third time. I was with my son Sean, and I was giving him back a buckle ring, a gold buckle ring that belonged to his mother's family. And I heard the voice, but Sean did not. The words were, "This is not of me." I had purchased a Star of David in 1983 when I was on my honeymoon with my wife Marcia. And I had worn that star for about 15 years and noticed that it was tarnishing and appeared to be orange. I took it into a jeweler on Long Island, and the star, she said, had to be repaired and had to be sent away, and where it would be put in a high-powered, some kind of chemical solution that would remove the orange and restore the gold luster. I didn't want to part with my star, so next day I went to our jeweler in Manhattan in the jewelry exchange, and I put the star, the orange tarnished star, on the counter. A few minutes later, when I picked it up, its gold luster had been restored. A very unusual experience that I had was with my son Sean coming out of his doctor's office in Smithtown, New York on Long Island. And what we saw in the sky was these orange rims, almost like chopsticks, and they were enclosing this green lawn interior. And I don't think it's something that we would normally see in the sky, and it represented a fair amount of the sky, and you really have no idea how big this is when you look upwards. But in any case, it was very unusual to see this. Still another experience that I had was a shirt, a black striped shirt that I had been wearing for years. And when I was having all of these other experiences, I went one day to the closet, and that black striped shirt had become blue striped, and today is still blue striped. When I mentioned this to my wife Marcia, she said no, it was always blue striped. But I know, because I was wearing it, that this was always black striped and not blue striped. And then what I did was I wondered whether, they only sold one or the other in the department stores. So I went all around town to see the types of black striped shirts and blue striped shirts, and it turned out that the black striped and blue striped shirts are both sold in the department store. So I wasn't really sure what happened, but all I know is that the black striped shirt that I had is now blue striped. Now we come to some very unusual events that took place over the Christmas break 1998 in Florida while we were visiting the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami, and we were lying on lawn chairs, and while Marcia was sleeping, I was looking up at the sky, and I saw a series of unusual cloud writing in the sky. First Sean and Seth, my twin sons, and then the name Ruth, and finally M, and then a blur of cloud letters, and an IA. The first thing that I saw was the letters SE. Here you see the SE getting converted into SEAN, Sean, who's one of my twin sons. It went back to SE. That SE got converted into SETH, Seth, who was Sean's identical twin brother. Then back to SE. Then Sean. Once more you see SE. And that gets converted into SETH, Seth. There were a series of these Sean Seth flashes going through the SE that lasted about 15 to 30 seconds. From Seth, I saw the words Ruth, which is the middle name of my daughter Melanie, and is also the first book that I read in 1999 after going through these spiritual experiences. Then came what I was talking about before, where I saw an M and then an IA, and my wife's name, Marcia, is spelled M-A-R-C-I-A. And I think the blur is because there are other members of the family whose first initial or middle initial starts with M. My daughter Melanie, my eldest daughter Melanie, is M, and the middle initial M is for Karen Michelle and Aaron Michelle. So I think that's the reason I saw the blur. And if you look at all of the first letters of the names of Marcia and my family, or the middle initials, you'll see that they spell out the word Messiah. Everybody in the family falls into the word Messiah. Okay, here are photos, and these were shown as individual flashes. I saw individual pictures. And the strange thing is that these are the exact same photos that I have in a photo album at home of myself. The only difference in the sky was that God showed me in my natural state with my hair loss. And here I am today, and with little cosmetics, I still look fairly young. Today I'm 71, but in any case, this hair was shown over a series of 6 or 7 or maybe even more flashes in the sky, and I saw gradual hair loss, and you can see the hair sticking out here, and it was really sticking out until I see the last picture, which is a picture of me basically bald. And actually it wasn't the last picture. I saw a few of these in the bald state, and I didn't realize that this Einsteinium look was because that years later, 12 years later, I was going to write a book about God and Einstein. Then coming back to New York, actually even before that, I saw a Blu-ray coming into our car window in Georgia, but when I got back to New York, I saw a white ray and a blue ray together, and here's 2 blue rays with a white ray coming out of the sun that's sandwiched in between the 2 blue rays. And then I saw the reverse, where the blue ray was sandwiched in between 2 white rays. And this went on for a period of quite a few months. And here's a picture of twins in the womb. And what happened was they looked like to be identical twins in the same amniotic sac. And I was in primal therapy for so many years, and I did womb regression and found myself in my mother's womb. I also did hypnotic regression when I went through past life spirit world connections. And what happened was, when I was in my mother's womb, I experienced an abortion. And during that time, I lost my twin. He was sucked out of the womb, but there was a force that held me back, and again, God saved my life. This is a miracle that didn't turn out to be a miracle. When we returned from the Tampa Cancer Clinic in Florida, I came into my office and I saw this ball of smoke. It was suspended in air. It was a fistful of smoke which I could touch and I could smell. And I thought this smoke was the miracle, that God was going to cure Marcia of her cancer. What I didn't realize was that this smoke was telling me that my brain and my thoughts were being obstructed, because I thought I could cure her by science and medicine, and I was planning that. But the smoke was telling me that she was in God's hands, and she passed shortly after this. It's Marcia now in the last slide, whereby she looks still in her body. This picture was taken in the 90s, but when I went through recent past life spirit world regression, where you go under hypnosis and you die in a past life and the soul goes up to the spirit world, she was not physical. She didn't have a body, but she had energy. She was all energy, kind of like a hologram. Well, thank you very much.